Information to help you run your business better and improve your marketing campaigns. My name is Hank Hoffmeyer, and thank you for joining me on Hank's Marketing and Business Tips. Welcome to episode 306 of the HMBT podcast. Today I'm here with Dr. Natasha Davis from Impact Branding Consulting. Natasha is an award-winning business and legal strategist who helps organizations reduce risk, strengthen governance, and scale with confidence. With over 15 years experience advising business leaders and government agencies, she's known for her forward-thinking, prevention-based approach. She's also a four-time author and a creator of predictive consulting software platform. Welcome, Natasha. It's great to have you today. And pretty much we're going to be talking about the legal aspects of running a business, which is something we've never discussed before. Thank you for joining me.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me. I'm looking forward to just having some fun today.
So many thought leaders in my industry are always saying, do more or just do it. Like create content, create 100 videos a month and do all these things, put all these blog posts out there. And in a way, thinking about having you on the show, I was like, well, maybe, that's great advice, but you probably need to think of it from a legal perspective. I'd like to talk to you about in general, like what do we need to be thinking about from a legal perspective if we were just starting a business, or maybe, we're an executive level. And then also, I think we need to talk about AI, right? AI generated content. What are the legal thoughts, consequences, or I guess successes around that from your perspective? So let's talk about, most of my audience probably are used to like marketing and business strategies and finance, stuff like that. Let's open it up and say, what are some of the things that people don't think about from a legal perspective, in your opinion?
Absolutely. Absolutely. So as a strategist, one of the things I'm always thinking about is, okay, I know what we want to accomplish, but how do we accomplish it without, missing compliance or without exposing ourselves to liability? And so oftentimes you're right, that we're in the era where we're all being told more content, get it out faster, do it quicker, right? And the conversation doesn't ever pause. No one respects a pause nowadays, right? And so we never think about, okay, well, when I develop this amazing content and I get this amazing framework, or I'm rolling out this great video content or this book or this coaching program, right? Anything that is going to be consumed by the public that we are putting out on every platform because we want people to click and buy or click and enroll. We're not stopping to think about, well, who actually owns this content now? Now you've put in the blood, sweat, and tears. You've put in all the money, the time, the resources. You've had this thing created. You're proud of it. But you never stop to think, well, what if somebody loves it just as much as you? And they decide that they're going to copy it and they're going to use it. And they're going to just like take your image off, take your name off and slap their name on. But here's the kicker. Maybe they're savvy enough to know, I'm going to go ahead and get this thing trademarked, or I'm going to get this thing copywritten. And then before you realize it, 4, 3, 5, 10 years later, someone's been using your work. And sadly, because we're in the age of go, 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 hurry, 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 and no one's respecting the pause, no one's respecting strategy and process, no one's tracking the movement of their assets. No one has trackers in place. No one has the little Google alert that says, hey, someone in 2 states over is using your name. Someone 2 states over or someone in another county took your logo exactly the way that it is, decided they were going to change the color and start using it as their own. No one's tracking. And so by the time persons find out that someone pretty much hijacked, right? They infringed upon their assets, their intellectual property. It's been so far long gone that the person that actually hijacked your stuff, because they did everything right, they can cease and desist you right away. You better stop using your own assets that you created. And that is the most financially crippling thing, because again, when you think about creating, whether it's a program or a framework or a course or an entire conference that has your branded messaging, right? Or you roll out this amazing YouTube channel with all this proprietary content, right? You never protected it. And you spent a lot of money, you spent a lot of time and a lot of resources, and you will not get it back. You won't get it back. So those are the things we have to think about. I like to say respect the pause. Respect the pause. And one of the things I strongly believe in over the 15 plus years is for every 1 minute that we spend in strategy, we're saving 10 minutes in execution. And we're saving another 2 hours of in liability, trying to avoid a lawsuit or to make, prevent from being sued or to try to sue someone. And so that's what I like to say.
Well, to be honest, I didn't think of it from that perspective. I was more on the side of stuff that you do as a, person or a company where you're creating content and infringing on others or doing something you're not supposed to, but protecting what you create, and that is important. And you said trackers. So is there a way to actually track that and have these Google alerts?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, one of our best friends in the world is Google, and they create all these amazing tools for us, but some of it we don't even know about it, right? And there's just a basic Google, if you're a Gmail person and you go into Gmail, start digging around in there. But there's a basic, a Google tracker where you can track the activity of your own company. If someone is using your, maybe you have a tagline that you came up with, it's your tagline. You have a tagline, you want to protect that, like it's a part of your brand. And so to your point, some people do stop and think, oh, I hope this doesn't belong to somebody else. They automatically stop to think about that. But once they get going, they don't stop and think, wait a second, I need to protect my stuff before someone else uses it. Here's the other area of false security, right? Someone comes up with a company name, they love it, they register it with their Secretary of State, they get their bank account, they're rolling, they're making it happen, and they think that they're fully protected, and they're not. Registering a company name with the Secretary of State is not the same as protecting one's intellectual property, the asset. So you can go and register that name, and yes, the Secretary of State will let you register it because it's a business thing. Take your money and keep it rolling, right? The
Right.
only way that the Secretary of State is going to prevent you is if another company with the same exact name using the same exact entity class is trying to register, period. Now, you go and you register it, you paid your money, and there is a Google alert that was set up for another company and says, wait a second, who is this with the new Facebook page with our business tagline, our name, and everything? We're 5 states over. It's okay. Who is this? And you will get a cease and desist. Here's another piece of the puzzle that you mentioned, right? A lot of times we're being told to do what? Newsletters. Get out a newsletter, put a blog in, get an article link, share an article
Mhm.
link, right? What happens when you have an article or a blog written and published on your website and you did not give appropriate credit or get permission from the true owner? You can very well not only be sued, some people are kind and they'll just tell you take it down and you can't use it. But if that particular content, the title, the information, or if you have a blog and you used an image that you did not pay royalties for, you did not get permission, you did not give proper credit to, not only can they tell you take it down, but they can sue you because guess what? You used an asset for which they trademark and for what you're making potential money off of. You can get in big trouble. So respect the pause.
That's something I've always recommended to people is, if you're doing something or even like posting on social media and you're using a image from another blog post or another website or something, yeah, you don't want to do that, especially if it's owned by like Getty or something, right? Because you're supposed to pay for that and they have the license and you don't, and you
Yeah.
need to be careful. At least now you can kind of use AI to create images, right? Which I don't know. That's another question for you is like if I create an AI image for my blog, do I hold the ownership of that or no?
So here's the key thing, right? As long as someone let me answer that in two parts. You don't own it because AI is sourcing information from everywhere and it's allowing all persons to use it. Like you and I can go and generate an AI image right now, and all it does, it has similar layout, it has the same wording. All it has is a different image of you and I. So you don't own those images. You really don't own it. And because AI is so new to the public. AI has been around for a long time, but it's new to the public. It's new and available to the public, right? Thanks to Chat GPT, right?
Mhm.
So it's open and available to the public. But what happened is the law is beginning to rapidly catch up now. Is beginning to rapidly catch up. And where there are industry standards and expectations, you can't necessarily find a firm fixed statute that says do not do. We're beginning to see it in bits and pieces. Like, oh, wait a second. If an attorney goes into a courtroom and decided to use AI to help with their argument and cases, well, as what just happened recently, you can be sanctioned. You get in a lot of trouble. And they can tell you, absolutely. Some judges are like, do not bring AI into my courtroom. And so that was a huge case that came down. But little by little, law is beginning to catch up. And there are certain industry standards and some statutes that are beginning to come around. Like if you are using AI to service a client and you have them in some form of a contractual agreement, you are expected to disclose that. Your customer is expected to know about that. You can't just use AI at free will and you won't get slapped on the hand. So no, we don't own the images and the things that are being created inside of any of the thousands of AI tools that we have now. Only if you have created an image with your either content that's been copied, you have copyrights to that already, or a trademarked image that you have, or your physical face and it's your image. So you might say, I use my creative brain to put this together. It's my idea. I just use the tool to bring it to life. Then that might be something you can copyright, but you'd have to show a lot of original authorship to be able to do that.
All right, so two things. I guess the first one is if you just create a general image, that's kind of like Creative Commons, right?
Mhm.
Right. So people that don't understand, Creative Commons is like if you search Google, you can actually have a filter of like give me images that are free to use commercially, which is Creative Commons. Somebody created it and said you can use it. That's what that means. So that's a little tip. That's from years ago. It's like make sure you use that filter if you're going to use any images from the web.
Yeah.
And then the other one is basically like you said, it's very important to put in a contract. I would probably like for me, if I ever did something for someone, I would just say there may be the use of AI tools in this project, right? As simple as that, at least then you're covered.
Exactly, exactly. And that's the key thing because there was a conversation. I got a phone call maybe about a month and a half ago. Someone was literally freaking out and they were like, I have a client who's very angry because we used AI for inspiration to do some kind of research. The individual actually ran the report we sent them. They ran it through an AI checker. Yes, there are AI checkers. So you send someone something like you just popped it into an AI and you just literally copy, paste, and send. There are AI checkers out there, some very savvy ones that can, some will just say AI detected, and there are others that will say in a percentage how much of AI is used here, right? And so the individual called me and they were really nervous because the client was angry because they were hired to do customized work. That's what they paid for. And they used AI as inspiration to help things along, but they never disclosed that to the client. And so the client was angry. There's like, give me my money back. I could have did this myself. I thought you were going to do customize this. So a lot of times we are in an age right now, everyone's using AI for something. No one's no you if you've ever driven down a highway, you've seen I remember the other day I was driving down, I saw a billboard. It was a medical facility and they were promoting we use AI now. And I'm like, do you have a robot doing my surgery? Like, well, talk to me. What are we talking about here? But every industry, every business, large, medium, small, they're using some form of AI. How it's being used is different. I actually like to educate the marketplace and my clients. We use AI responsibly and so that you're compliant and that you maintain, just not only authenticity but ethics along the way. So everyone's using AI. We were using AI before we even knew we were using it.
That's right. And it's helpful, but it's
Yeah.
also concerning with a lot of the slop out there and everything. And it's going to be interesting to see where we're going to be in 5 years.
Yeah, you remember the show The Jetsons?
Yes.
That's where we're going to be. We're not far from it, right?
Flying cars and instant food. That I like.
Right. Like now we can get a refrigerator that can tell us what we need to buy. Like, hey, you're running low on eggs, milk, and butter. And you didn't even have to open the refrigerator. That was the Jetsons. Remember when the Jetsons used to tell us what the fridge is empty?
Yeah.
So that's where we are. We're pretty much in the era of the Jetsons. I don't know. We don't have flying cars yet, at least that I
Uh,
know.
well, at least we have something similar to Rosie, right? We have the food delivering robots in some
Yeah.
cities.
Yeah, we do have our Rosie in the world. So you're absolutely right. So I like to say we're using it and we don't realize it. And this is something I always also tell companies, like again, as a strategist, when we're talking about compliance and governance and growth strategy and things, I tell organizations and companies regardless, do not be afraid of AI. Do not be afraid of technology. Do not go in and demand your staff to not use it. Don't talk about you about to fire everybody because they're using AI. And no, 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 no. You put processes and policies in place that says this is how we use AI here. And those are the things I get to help my clients with. Okay, let's put some processes in place. Let's make sure you have procedures in place so that you are compliant, so that your business governance is not altered, right? And so that your company is not slowing down. Because here's the worst thing that can happen. You tell your staff don't use AI and they say, okay, sure, no problem to your face. And then when they have to go to work and they're expected to get things done quickly and quicker and quickly and quicker, right? They're just going to create an AI account in their own name with their own little email. They're going to do the little work. They're going to send it off over to you and you're not going to be the wiser. Meanwhile, you have someone who is hired by your company that is functioning outside of your ecosystem. So let me tell you what just happened there. All the work that they just created on their platform that maybe they are paying the $20 a month for, you do not own. It's not yours. And if you fire them or you aggravate them and they quit, you can't use the stuff that they created. It's on
Wow.
their platform. And so
Yeah.
again, we're hiring people and not putting work for hire agreements in. We're not making it clear. Listen, sister, listen, brother, let me tell you what, everything that you create, everything that you discover, you're doing it on my behalf. It's mine. No, we're just out here hiring folk because we want to get work done. And we can't do that. This is not, we live in such a litigious time right now. We just can't do it.
Right. And I think we also need to talk about being careful what your employees upload to Gemini, to ChatGPT, personal identifiable information or company data that doesn't need to be in there because there could be a security breach.
Yeah.
Whereas, some people use, local LLMs where you download the model to your computer and it's yours and the data doesn't leave. And it's gonna skipping my brain, but Google just came out with one that you could download to your phone or your computer where it doesn't connect to the internet. It's their latest model, and then all that data is there. So that's another thing is be careful what your employees or you are uploading to these models because it could be accessed or could be used to train, their models and then be shared with other people, right?
Right. And that's an important thing to say. Again, because we are in this huge AI revolution, right? And we can't hide from it, we can't run from it, but we do need to understand it and we need to A, respect the pause and B, think strategically about what we're doing. When we're using these tools, I always encourage people, learn the tool. Like, how about you just, again, respect the pause, take a minute and actually know what the tool does. Like, pay attention to what it can do, what it doesn't do, what it's supposed to do, and have it added to your tech stack. Don't start creating all these tools and having all these tools and you didn't forgot what does what and what goes where. The other thing is, in if not all of these types of AI tools, the Chat GPTs, the Claudes, Gemini's, Perplexity, Clay, all of these tools, there is a feature in the settings, a personalized area where you turn off the learning feature. You turn it off and you keep your information private. And so that is one way to protect what is really happening, right? Here's another thing. If you have something that is classified as a trade secret, you should make sure it's classified as such. It got confidential slapped all over it, even down to the point where he says, do not upload or add to any platform. It stays internal, period. It stays on your local computer or whichever. And again, you wouldn't want that circulated and accessible to any and everyone anyway. So if you have something that's like really proprietary, something that's like, hey, this is our secret sauce of how we get things done, and you don't want that out in the public, then I would recommend that you slap confidential, internal only. This is a trade secret, do not share, and always add do not upload to any AI platform. Because see, do not share doesn't mean the same thing as do not upload to platforms.
Right. Oh, that's a good distinction.
This is the times, right? This is the times that we're in. You have to be clear and specific. And if anyone has a company, especially if you're working with people, like you have a team, whether it's a virtual team, an in-house team, an international team, a VA team, whatever, it is important to have clear processes and procedures, right? Like, here's what we do, here's what we don't do. And one of the key things that I like to say is don't get lazy. Don't hire people and just you sit there and tell them do this, do that, but you never had a policy put in place. And if you're one of the people that's like, I can't even wrap my head around doing that, here's a phrase you should always remember. There's an app for that, or there's an AI agent for that. You can get somebody to do it. Like you may, you can go, there's an amazing tool, and I am not paid for this tool. I'm just sharing information. There's a tool, and I'm sure everyone's seen it. It's called, I might pronounce it differently, Synthesia, whatever. But that is a super, super really cool tool when you want to get a policy or a procedure documented that says do this or don't do that. You can get it. It does the video, it does the recording, you download the video, and you put it in maybe a library for your team. Watch this. Like, this is what we do. If you are not savvy with typing out a policy and a procedure and doing all that. And again, you can use any of the other tools too. Like, hey, ChatGPT or Claude, I need to make a policy that says do this, don't do that, create this, don't create that, go here, don't go here. Tell it and it'll do it for you. But like I said, using AI responsibly is going to help with that, keeping your compliance, your legal compliance, maintaining business governance, and protecting your assets.
A lot of great stuff. Let's shift gears away from AI.
Yeah.
A lot of companies use agencies for content and stuff like that. What are some legal things we need to think about in that realm?
So one of the things, and I'll tell you, I started seeing an interesting trend that sometimes when you onboard certain types of agencies, I see this a lot more in like creative agencies where they have this interesting line embedded in the service agreement that nobody's reading. They're just signing and going with it, right? Because again, of that false security of having a signed contract. We can talk about that. But there's this interesting wording that they're embedding that any work that they create does not belong to the person who's paying them for it. Well, then that just kind of sounds weird because I'm hiring you for the purposes of X, but then I signed a clause that says, oh, never mind, I don't want to own it. Never mind, I'm going to pay you to do your own, to keep your own work. That makes no sense, right?
Wow.
So when you hire a company, one, please read the contract. Like, I don't care if it's 500 pages long as no one's dying, let it respect the pause and read it, interpret it, get help, get someone that understands contracts and call your attorney, get your legal team, like figure it out. Like before you start signing stuff, because one of the things I can tell you, even if you sign a bad contract, you are still bound to that bad contract. It has to be truly unconscionable for the contract to not be honored. So when you hire on agencies and they're doing work, you want to make sure that you look for the language as it really, or you ask them, hey, listen, you're creating this, who owns it? I own it. Where is it going to go? Whose portal, whose Dropbox, whose Google Drive, whose Monday.com, whose Asana, whose Slack, whose account is this going to be on? And here's a key question I always ask. Are you giving me access to your account, or am I giving you access to mine?
Mm.
That one is important because here's what can happen. You start going along with it. It's all fine and dandy. You're getting the work done. You're taking it off your plate. But guess what? Everything is on their platform. And if you decide that the services are no longer needed, you don't have that stuff. Everyone is not ethical. They're not just going to say, hey, you know what, right is right, fair is fair. I'll just send the files to you. I'll give it to you. So you want to ask those questions because A, if the agreement, the service agreement you signed has that little language in it that, hey, this isn't yours anyway. I also saw this interesting language with photographers.
Hmm.
If there's any photographers, I'm sorry, I'm not coming for you, but I'm just telling the truth. When you take a photo of someone, it is not ethical to tell the person that the photo does not belong to them. It's their face, it's their body. They hired you to take a picture of them for them to be able to use the image. And if you don't read it and pay attention, and you know what I found funny? Half the photographers didn't even know that that clause was in there because they went and got it online somewhere. They don't even know what their agreement says. So be careful as you're signing contracts, signing agreements, hiring vendors, respect the pause. Please ask questions. If you don't know what to ask, get help, right? Ask the right questions before you sign and be careful with agencies or companies, whoever you're hiring, be careful with people that are rushing you so much that you feel like you got to hurry up and sign, hurry up and sign. Like
Hmm.
no one's dying. No one's dying. Like this can wait for 24 hours. Let me look at this. Let me read it, right? And just be careful with that. So that's a little bit of gripe for me because I've seen a lot of people get into some really bad spots that they were in a hurry. They signed it because they told them, or here is something, please don't do this. Don't sign it and then say, okay, send it to me and then I'll look at everything. Doesn't matter. You already
Right.
signed it.
Yeah.
You already signed it. Outside of you buying a large asset, a car, a house, there is no 3 day waiting period, 5 day waiting period, 7 day waiting period. There is no such thing. You
Yeah.
sign it, it's yours. That's your baby, right? You can't give it back, no matter how ugly it is.
And I love how we're living in a world of AI because you can upload a contract and say, what are some things I need to be concerned about and ask questions about? I
Exactly.
uploaded my cell phone bill the other day because those are always hard to read. And I
Oh,
was explain everything, what I'm spending my money on, because AT&T's they're raising their rates or changing making you change their plans by increasing the older plans, right? And I did a comparison. I'm like, look at this and let me know, what I'm paying,
yeah,
what do I need to be concerned about, and what
right.
do I need to be concerned about moving to the new plans? And it did a great job. It told me everything.
Yeah, use your AI to your advantage. I don't, again, use it responsibly. I think it's out there and you should use it. Be careful on the reliance on it because AI can be wrong. I mean, AI pulls from resources of all over. And it's so interesting, as a matter of fact, if anyone does have a ChatGPT account recently, probably within the past year and a half or so, if you look at the bottom of that line when you run a prompt, read and see what it says. You need to check because we can be wrong.
Yep.
There's a new term that goes out. You know what it's called? Your AI is hallucinating. That means it's wrong, basically.
I love hearing people say it's usually confidently wrong.
Yeah, seriously. But there's a line now. ChatGPT has a nice protective line. Hey, listen, I could be wrong. You should
Yeah.
fact check this. Don't just take what I say. So those are little interesting things. So
Yeah.
you can go from there.
And I've learned to put a phrase in if it's something important, say, if you're not sure about something, rather than giving me an answer, please let me know that you have questions around this and let's talk through it. And it's caught a few things where it's, probably would have given me an answer that was wrong, but it said, hey, on this one, I'm not 100% sure. This is what I was going to say. What do you think? And I'll be like, no, that's totally off base. Or, yeah, it's
Right.
kind of there. Yeah, I think that's good.
Yeah, and I love when it says you're absolutely right. We're off track. No, not we, you.
Yeah. I heard that it's gonna really affect like all the younger users because it's always telling them they're great and they're doing a great job and everything when they might not be.
Unfortunately, we have humans that are having entire conversations and entire relationships solely with AI and technology. And when it comes to having a conversation with a human, that skill is being lost very quickly.
Well, this is a lot of great information. Any other quick tips before we wrap up?
I think the biggest thing I could say, as in business, the key thing is if you can take anything away from today is the big picture is respect the pause. Because in your haste to do anything, you're going to miss some marks. You can expose yourself to like liability, financial loss, huge mistakes, unnecessary delay. So when you're thinking about what we're doing in business, just stop, respect the pause, and just think all the way through it. And I always say from a long time, get help. You don't have to know everything. That's why you have people that know other things. Build a good, viable team and get help when you are not clear and you're not savvy with something. Don't be ashamed. Just don't be too proud to get help at all, but respect the pause and be careful. In order to scale a company, you need to do it strategically, not hastily. That's very important.
I like that. I think it's also a reminder for me to like pause when doing things. And there was always used to be some things when, especially when I was in client management, I'd have an irritable customer. They'd, be complaining about something, and then you just want to draft that email and just hit send, right? But you're full of emotion and you're not thinking things through. And I always had the rule of save the draft, wait at least an hour, come back and read it again and see what you can do. And then whether it was that or even other things, I always try to go back and I need to really get back into it is can I add a +1 to that conversation? Like something to make it a little bit better or more valuable. And you reminded me to take a step back and do that because we're always on the go or go, go, go all the time. And we're just, especially if you're in a corporate environment and you're, just working in the corporate environment, you're expected to do more with less.
Exactly.
Therefore, you're not pausing. That's the best tip of this episode is, yeah, pause every now and then and review, right?
Take a minute. Take a minute and pause. That's the best thing that you can do for yourself. That's the best thing you can do for your business because it just stops you from going so fast. Because the era we're in, speed to market, speed to market, speed to market, and to an extent, yes, some of that is true. Like if you need 20 days to figure something out, something like okay, that's a whole nother conversation, right? We
Right.
can talk about something else on that, how to get things, execute things, right? But it's okay. Take a minute, an hour a day, respect the pause and think clearly through, okay, what's really happening here? What do I need? Where am I going? Is this going to solve the problem? Is this going to give me what I need? And then if you can't get a resounding yes, then you start making the adjustments. And please don't sign agreements without reading them.
Wow. Yeah, it's a lot of things people don't think about, but I'm glad you're here to share all of that.
Thank you for having
Dr.
me.
Natasha Davis, spilling some wisdom. How can folks reach out to you, connect with you, and learn more about what you do?
Absolutely. The easiest way to connect with me is just go to my direct website, natashadavisvisionary.com. You can go there, you can track me down, you can message me, you can find me every social media platform. That is the quickest, easiest way you can find me directly, and that will give you all the pathways to other portals that you need. natashadavisvisionary.com.
Awesome. I'll have links in the show notes, everyone. And don't forget that the show is hugely supported by Kickbox, who I work for. If you want 5,000 free verification credits to check email addresses to ensure they're valid, use the code HMBT to support the show and show Kickbox some love. But more importantly, make sure you check out Dr. Natasha Davis's work because she's doing something that's not really visible and what people probably don't put a lot of value in. But once you're in trouble, you would have valued it if you had it.
Thank you. Very true. Absolutely. Thanks for having me again.
All right. And with that, folks, make sure you respect the pause and have a great day.